Hey, everyone, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're going to tackle a common issue that many developers face when working with grid and React. Specifically, we'll be discussing why cellClassRules may not reflect updated state variables in grid version 23 with React 17. As we all know, a grid is an incredibly powerful grid component for the web, and it's widely used in many applications. However, like any other complex library, it can sometimes behave unexpectedly, especially when combined with a popular framework like React. In this video, we'll dive deep into one such issue that has puzzled many developers and provide you with a clear explanation of what's going on and how to address it. So let's get started. If you're working with grid and React, or are planning to do so in the future, this video is for you. Even if you're not experiencing this specific issue, understanding the underlying concepts will help you better navigate similar problems that may arise in your development journey. So let's break down what happens when we try to update a state variable and expect it to be reflected in our cellClassRule. First, we need to understand how a grid processes its data and updates the grid. When we pass new data to the grid will automatically update the rows and columns based on that data. However, things get a bit more complicated when we try to apply conditional styling using cellClassRules. These rules are defined as functions that take in certain parameters, such as the row's data, the column's definition, and others. The function then returns a string representing the class name that should be applied to the cell. Now, here's where things might get tricky. Even though we update our state variable, grid doesn't automatically rerun these functions for us. In fact, it will only apply the new class names when the grid itself is updated or re-rendered. To illustrate this, let's consider a simple example. Suppose we have a cellClassRules function that checks whether a certain condition is met and returns either active or based on that condition. If our state variable changes after the initial render, but before we update the grid data, grid won't know about it. In other words, even though we updated our state variable, grid hasn't rerun the cellClassRules function to reflect this new information. This is why you might see an outdated class name being applied to your cells, even after updating your state variable. So what are the from this discussion? First and foremost, it's essential to understand how grid processes its data and updates the grid. When working with cellClassRules, remember that these functions will only be rerun when the grid itself is updated or re-rendered. Secondly, if you're experiencing issues where your state variable isn't being reflected in your cellClassRules, try updating your grid data to trigger a re-render of the cell. Alternatively, consider using grid's built-in mechanisms for handling state changes and updates, such as delta updates. Lastly, don't forget that debugging can be an iterative process. If you're still having trouble resolving this issue, take some time to review your code, step through it in your debugger, and ensure that all the necessary components are communicating correctly with each other. And that's a wrap. We hope this video has helped clarify why cellClassRules might not reflect updated state variables in grid version 23 with React 17. Remember, understanding how complex libraries like grid interact with frameworks like React is key to resolving seemingly insurmountable issues. If you have any questions, or would like further clarification on anything we covered today, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more content on web development and related topics. Lastly, if there's a specific topic you'd like us to cover next, feel free to let us know. We're always looking for new ideas and would love to hear your feedback. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.